Welcome to the world of Doctor Who, the Time Lord that explores the galaxy while on his time-traveling adventures. Welcome to the world of the longest-running science fiction series in history, with your co-hosts Susan Backstrom, David Grunt, Matthew Rose, Tom Diamond, and Craig Johnson. And they explore the classic series from its humble beginnings in 1963 and tracking through time to every episode up to the current day. This is the Doctor Who retrospective, where a legend will never die.
Hello guys, welcome to the Literary License podcast, and tonight for Doctor Who Night we are covering the Aztecs from 1964, which was aired on the 23rd of May to the 13th of June 1964. I'm here with Marios Irakulius from Woodside Park in North Finchley and myself, Craig Johnson, tonight. So Marios, what have you been up to recently?
Well, I have just released the Sir Benedict files on Kindle and in paperback, and I'm so surprised. I'm actually really ecstatic at the moment because it's got 2 5-star reviews on it, which is absolutely amazing. It's just so nice to know that somebody out there is reading my book, and I've got the review right here. It says, really enjoyed the first installment of the Sir Benedict files and can't wait for more. 5 stars. Amazing.
Yeah, that's really
And then I got mystery quick read. I was privileged to receive an art copy of this book, and it's easy to read storyline, full of suspense, drama and mystery, kept me intrigued. If you're looking for a quick read with a good pace, then this might just be your thing.
And what's the title of that one, Mario?
It's called The Sir Benedict Files, The Case of the Missing Casket and the Trickery of Magic, out now on Amazon.
Wow, I'll have to check that out. That sounds really cool.
It's awesome. I mean, I know I wrote it, but I think the feedback which I got from it, from my ARC readers and beta readers, it's just been immense at the moment.
It's always good with when you get feedback for like recognition for something that you've created. It's a really good feeling.
Absolutely. With anything really, look, if it's like say with your art or with anything like that, it's all positive. Even the negatives I take in as well.
Well, if you need anyone to do book covers, let me know because I'm a good photographer.
Fantastic. I'll keep you in mind for the next one, Craig.
I myself, I've had this really horrible cold all week since I came. Well, I went to the Gran Canaria and it was 28 degrees. It was lovely. And it was just so nice to get away because we were going on holiday before my mum's chemotherapy started sort of thing, before she gets sick and stuff. So, but yeah, I came down with the flu last Wednesday, Thursday. So I've been as sick as a dog, really. So I haven't been up to anything apart from, I read Stephen King's The Institute, which is basically, it's the kids from Stranger Things escaping from a research facility, and they've all got superpowers like telekinesis and stuff like that.
Oh wow, that sounds like my thing.
Yeah, and I've been watching You on Netflix. I've just started to watch that. I'm a bit behind, but it's very good.
Oh wow! I mean, I watched the first season of that, but I never got on to a second or third season. Actually, I need to go back.
Oh. And in terms of Doctor Who, I went to see Neil Corrie at the St Albans TV store to get the last 3 pre-orders of the Eagle Moss Doctor Who figurine collections. Which is pretty cool. And what he did here, I managed to get a rare Dalek of the girl battle computer from Remembrance of the Daleks, and he signed the back of it for me. He autographed.
That's amazing.
So that was pretty cool. The next pre-orders are coming out soon on the Sci-Fi Collector website. But because of shipping problems and they're coming directly from China, the cost of 3 of the figures will be £99. So yeah, but they are. I think they're the last of the collection to finish.
So they're not doing any more after that?
I don't think so. I think that's the last of the stock.
No.
Yeah, so
that's amazing. I mean, I really like those. I mean, I've got the doctors from who was it? William Hartnell all the way through to Paul McGann. So I got all those doctors.
All right.
Cool. And I've got Ace, of course, and all the Doctor enemies as well. So they got a great, nice little collection there.
And I saw the trailer for the Doomsday.
Yes,
a multi-platform Doctor Who.
I thought it could be a big finish Doctor Who thing. I mean, for a minute, because I saw the Disney Plus, I thought it was going to be something to do with Disney Plus. But anything Big Finish do are amazing. They are totally awesome.
This is the synopsis for Doctor Who, The Aztecs, which first broadcast on the 23rd of May, 1964, and the last broadcast was the 13th of June, 1964. The TARDIS crew arrive in Mexico in the 15th century. With the TARDIS trapped in a tomb, Barbara Wright is mistaken for a female reincarnation of the ancient high priest Yetaxa and assumes her guise and identity. From her new position of power, Barbara sees her chance to bring an end to human sacrifice. She sees the good side of Aztec culture manifested in Utlak, the high priest of knowledge, and the gruesome side embodied in the high priest of sacrifice, Chesterton. As a history teacher, she sees how advanced the culture really is and believes that if sacrifice was abolished, they would be spared destruction at the hands of the Spanish. The urgent warnings of the First Doctor that Barbara cannot change history fall on deaf ears, much to his fury. The bloodthirsty Yetaxa begins to suspect Barbara is not Yetaxa returned, especially because she is trying to ban human sacrifice. He sets a series of elaborate traps for her and her companions. For example, Ian has been compelled into the military and fights the strongest warrior, Yetaxa, to prove his ability to command the Aztec forces. Thus, Aztec develops a grudge against Ian and is used by Yetaxa to try to prove that Barbara is not Yetaxa. The Doctor unwittingly tells Yetaxa how to defeat Ian in combat using a drugging agent, and this battle nearly ends in the Doctor witnessing his friend's death. When this fails to be conclusive, Yetaxa convinces the subordinate priest Tanya to make a poison for Barbara. The death of Barbara following consumption of the poison would prove she is not immortal and therefore not a god. However, Ian silently warns her from his hiding place, and Barbara refuses to drink the poison. She tells Yetaxa that she is not Yetaxa, and warns him not to tell the people. Susan Foreman and the Doctor have meanwhile both become involved in marriage-making scenarios. Susan has transgressed Aztec law by refusing to marry the perfect victim, who has been scheduled for sacrifice by Yetaxa on the day of the next eclipse, while the Doctor, who knows little of Aztec customs, has become accidentally engaged to an Aztec woman named Kamka, after they shared a cup of cocoa. Kamka helps the Doctor and Ian find a way to re-enter the tomb by a secret entrance. Ian braves a treacherous tunnel in which he is almost drowned to re-enter the tomb by a secret door, and soon tells his friend that they can flee. Despite her efforts, Barbara realizes she cannot change an entire culture, although she does succeed in changing the views of the Utlak. Utlak helps Barbara reunite with her friends before exiting himself to the desert to meditate on what remains of his faith. In a pitched battle to gain access to the tomb door, Ian kills Yetaxa in a fight to the death to protect the TARDIS crew. The Doctor and his companions leave knowing that despite their intervention, history will take its predestined course. As they depart, Yetaxa is very much in control and sacrifices the perfect victim to the end of the naturally occurring eclipse. The Doctor confronts Barbara by telling her she did help Utlak find a better belief system. And that is the synopsis for Doctor Who, The Aztecs, airing the 23rd of May to the 13th of June, 1964. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Literary License podcast, and tonight we're discussing the Aztecs. And over to you, Mario. What are your opening thoughts?
Well, I actually really enjoyed the Aztecs, and I'll tell you why. This was my very first eye-opener to Doctor Who when I was younger, and I got this on VHS tape back in the early 90s, it was, as a present, as a Christmas present, actually. So when I watched it back then, I didn't really know what it was about until a bit more later on. And the historical side really intrigued me because I never knew anything about Aztecs. And I think for somebody who doesn't know anything about that era, I think it's a really good historical story. And I love the historical stories of Doctor Who. And this one actually kept me intrigued all the way through. And I didn't take my eyes off it just once.
Because the nearest Aztec related thing that I can think of in Doctor Who that came after was the cleaners from Paradise Towers because of their Aztec design.
And I never noticed that. In because of the hair, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
What about your thoughts on the episodes?
Well,
Craig?
I mean, the Doctor got married and no one talked about it for the next the next 60 years. It was just forgotten about. That really threw me a little bit. But it was, the Doctor was in love. Barbara becomes a goddess and refuses to steal a man's heart. Susan's engaged to a hunk, but would rather stick needles in her eyes.
She kept on refusing. I'm not going to marry anyone who I don't want to. Yeah. So she stood on her 2 feet and gave it her all there. I
was saying earlier, this is probably the only Doctor Who historical from the 60s where I haven't fallen asleep watching it.
Yeah,
It was 4 episodes, was just really well timed. It felt just right. There was good character development. Barbara held her own during this one. She was amazing in this.
Oh, she really was. The way she actually acted the part as well, and the way her facial expressions, and actually going into the character of a character that she knew from when she studied the history of that when she was a student too. And she knew all about the Aztecs and their advantages and disadvantages and everything that goes on around them. She knew what to do. And I think that came into her favor in all 4 episodes.
And this adventure was good because there was an internal conflict in the TARDIS, which led outside, whereas before it would have been a conflict between the villains on the outside, but it was the actual them having a conflict inside that led them outside into the adventure, which was quite interesting, a good dynamic.
And I remember when the Doctor told Barbara, you must not interfere. Do you understand? You must not interfere with their way of thinking, with their way of doing. And she did.
And when Barbara put the knife to the butcher, that surprised me. I thought, wow, this is pretty racy for a kid show,
And for a 5:30 viewing as well, back in the day.
Susan, I was thinking earlier, Susan wasn't in this much, and she was on a 2-week holiday, so that's why she wasn't seen much in this one.
And also, I found that the last one and this one, I find her weaker in some ways. Her storyline she didn't say or do much. Like you said, she was on holiday, maybe because of that. But she, as a Doctor's granddaughter, you would think she'd have a more pivotal part in the actual stories, the last couple of stories, which she didn't really.
And it's weird the Doctor got engaged, but he didn't really want to hang about. He just wanted to get out of there and find the TARDIS.
That's right, but even Carmichael gave him where to go, to go back to the TARDIS. She let him go in the end.
They should do a trial of the Time Lord where he's on trial for his polygamy.
Yes. So he's married Carmichael, which nobody knew about for the last, how many odd years, and with a son.
And with a son.
But there was a new adventure. There was a New Adventures book, I'm sure. Please, anybody email or send us a mail or something, that the Doctor, in my imagination, went back to see Carmichael in the New Adventures books.
Right. Wow.
I'm not sure. I need to find out that title.
And they are like priceless little gems. They are, but they're like £20 a copy now.
Oh, absolutely. I've got half of those copies in my loft.
Wow. Let's do a deal.
I need to go and do a little spruce up in the loft and find them.
Oh, yeah. But the costumes and the sets were great. I mean, one of the sets was actually, I think it was cloth or a painting. You can see the actual edge of the set. But aside from that, it was really, really good, well put together. And it was really like, they looked like they spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah, I mean, the way they did the way the actual set was designed to make it look real to the audience, I felt that was really well done. And the makeup and all the costumes.
It was Lime Grove D where they were filming. And they moved to the twice as large TVC3 studio for this production. So you can actually tell.
I always thought it was done outside, half of it, outside in the, like on the actual grounds, because it looked really real. Now, I can't remember the name of a local butcher in that in there, because his name is so hard to pronounce. I've got my notebook here. So the local butcher, is it Tulloch?
I can't even pronounce
it. Yeah, you see, it's really difficult to pronounce.
John Ringham.
That's right. And he scared me, even when he first came on. And it was
I would have loved him to have had his head chopped off, but I know it's a kid's show, so they wouldn't show that. But I would love to have him come to a really bad demise.
Yeah, or it could have been Barbara or Susan actually.
But really, he was actually right. They were imposters. He was actually telling the truth. So I can't really be angry at him.
No. But what I didn't like, it was the way his eyes was just like really freaky. Yeah. In every aspect of his scenes, he did it really, really well. Just possibly scared kids back then completely. Yeah. And the high priest, he was really good. And I felt like he was a good confidant for Barbara as well. Confidant, maybe, am I saying that right? I'm not sure. But he was very good. And I liked the way he taught Susan well as well.
Yeah, was more powerful than the one he gave to Susan when he said goodbye to her in the Dalek Invasion of Earth.
It was very sweet, because he actually really did love her in those episodes, because he was sent to the garden for it's like a retirement village for them, really, isn't it? Because they had their own people to rely on. They didn't have anybody else. So he got sent there. Barbara, Susan, surprise, surprise, was a handmaiden to Yetaxa. And then after, Ian went to the gladiator ring,
So any standout moments for you from this one?
I think for me, it had to be when it was the love story between the Doctor and Carmichael. I think that was a really bittersweet.
Yeah.
And it showed a real soft side to William Hartnell's character. I mean, the worst was when Susan was tried to be married off, to be fair.
It's difficult to think, because was he just stringing her along just for the story, or was he thinking about staying put? We just don't know.
No.
But he seems upset when parting with her. But it is weird. He singled her out for the attention, and it is actually as if he did fancy her.
Yeah. I think the way he was looking into her eyes and the way they actually had the chemistry was there with them. It's a shame that they didn't invite her into the TARDIS, or went back in another story maybe in the future.
What did you think of the battle scenes with Ian?
He was awesome. He really kicked ass. Yeah. I loved it. It was like, and the music went really well with that, the incidental music.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. You know, he really did, you know, he went for it. And I think, you know, like for Ian, he went to go and find inside the tomb as well, to go back into the tomb. He went in there. And you wouldn't see any of, like, say, a Turlo would never do that, or Andric would never have done that. Ian went straight in there, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not hiding.
There was no, with the TARDIS this time, there was nothing major happened in the TARDIS. It didn't get stuck, or everything seemed to be working for once.
Exactly. And I think that's really good in some ways. It's like they knew where they were going, you know, they stopped. Okay, where are we? Let's see what we can find. And then they go out, you know. But always the Doctor would say, stay and then we'll go. No, Susan and Barbara go out of the TARDIS, wander off. And what does the Doctor usually say? Don't wander off.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even say that. He didn't even realise probably they were gone.
Don't touch any moving stones.
Or accidentally put your foot into a poisonous water.
Yeah.
But I must say, I was surprised by looking at the viewing figures of those episodes. It was like episode 1 was 7.4, and then by episode 3 it was 7.9, and then I think episode 4 again it went back to 7.4. So they really had good viewing figures.
Yeah.
For a historical story like that back in the day. I'm not sure if that was we did have Marco Polo before, didn't we? Can't remember what the viewing figures were for those, but it is really, really good for a historical story.
And you mentioned, sorry.
Yeah, go on, you were saying?
You mentioned the episode titles earlier: The Temple of Evil, The Warriors of Death, The Bride of Sacrifice, The Day of Darkness.
They all start with that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like, why can't you just say Warriors of Death, Bride of Sacrifice, Day of Darkness?
Day of the Daleks.
Day of the Daleks, exactly. Remembrance of the Daleks, you know. But you know, for me, in those episodes, my top 3 had to be Barbara, Ian, and then Susan again. Those 3, you know, top.
Which character for you is standing out the most then in terms of development? And
I think Barbara again for me, because she held a key role as Yetaxa, all hail Yetaxa. And, she, you know, she was a character within another character. She had to portray this goddess. And I don't think that Susan would have been able to do that, maybe, or Ian, for instance. But because she had that historical background anyway, she knew exactly what to do.
Yeah.
What about you? Who was your standout?
For me, Barbara. She really held her own, and, you know, to attack the butcher, to threaten the butcher's life. And it must have been difficult to know she was an imposter, but she had to live the lie to get through and survive. It was like survival of the fittest, really.
Absolutely.
Was, you know,
and I think that's with all the characters there as well.
Yeah.
And your least?
I'd probably say Susan, but I think it's because she wasn't there. She was on holiday, so she only had a really small part to play.
Yeah, again, for me, Susan. But, you know, even that, I think there's also between a tie with the Doctor and Barbara, because the Doctor, with his chemistry with Carmichael and a love story between them throughout the 4 episodes.
And it was good writing by John Lucarotti, direction from John Crockett. It worked really well.
And like you said, you didn't fall asleep through it. I didn't fall asleep through it. Usually some of these, ones you just thought, oh my goodness, really? But it was amazing. And I think I'll give it like a 9 out of 10 for this.
Yeah, I think I'd give that a 9 as well. The next podcast we're going to cover will be Doctor Who, the Censorites.
Censorites. I always thought it was the Censorites when I was younger. So that should be a really good one to dive into as well. But it's actually, doing these podcasts, which has been amazing. I know it's been one so far. It's just, for me, it's going back to the old episodes and watching them again, which makes it more fun and enjoyable this time round. Definitely. To be able to pinpoint tiny little bits that maybe no one else has seen before, or, oh, did that actually happen? Or, oh, I can't remember that bit. So it's been a roller coaster already. So it's been great fun.
Oh, that's cool. I'm glad to have you on board.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Do you have any social medias that you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm all on social media, all my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook. It's all Marius Wright. So if you just type in Marius Wright into each of them, I will come up. Please add me. I'll follow you back. Please get into contact about any writing or you do or anything you like, and I'm being able to respond straight away to you all. What about you, Craig? What about your social media?
You can check all my artwork stuff out on craigsworld.org, and there's links there for different stuff. So that brings us to the end of the Literary License podcast this week for Doctor Who Night, and we hope to see you all soon. And it's good night from me and good night from Mario.
Good night, everybody. Have a lovely week ahead.
Good night, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Do you still remember when you promised me the perfect love and I gave you everything and still you said it wasn't enough? When you hit me verbally, put me on my knees and blame it on me and I'd swallow it down. I let you break my wings, just become a caged bird. Ate your bullshit promises and cherished every fucking word. Now like a freedom phoenix burning from a rising sun, here's my vindication. I hate you. Alright, okay, you're gonna get a taste of my heartbreak. Right now, today, I'm gonna make you regret all your dirty ways. Alright, okay, you're gonna get a taste of my heartbreak. Right now, today, I'm gonna make you become my human sacrifice. Let's go back into the time you spent my heart like Merlot wine. Didn't care if I was sick, you left me alone to cry and die. You're a human sacrifice, alone in church of love and lies. I did not forget. I'm back with ammunition on a mission that will make you pay. Back with a bazooka and a bullet where I wrote your name. Risen up from the ashes, ready for more justice day. Here I come for you. I hate you. Alright, okay, you're gonna get a taste of my heartbreak. Right now, today, I'm gonna make you regret all your dirty ways. Alright, okay, you're gonna get a taste of everything and still you said it wasn't enough.